Something about shooting video as a photojournalist that's often overlooked is the ability to use frame grabs to get still images from your high definition video. I'm a huge proponent of it. To me, it's a perfect marriage of two worlds that shouldn't be separate in the first place. I think like a still photographer. I still refer to myself as a still photographer, and yet I shoot video. Frame grabs are that place where they join together. If I've photographed something as I should, then I should be able to pull a great moment from it. So how that's done, you can do it in many different ways. Depends upon what works best for you. But for this purpose, we're just going to use our nonlinear editing program. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be any of them. And take a look at how a frame grab changes, though, frame by frame. And that's one of the unique aspects. You're shooting at 30 frames a second to pull this image. That's a fast motor drive, fastest in the country. And in fact, sometimes it feels like you're reliving the moment all over again. You're finding it right here. And the tiniest little minutiae, you go, wow, that's it. So let's take a look at that. In this case, I've got some turkeys. Most nonlinear editing programs for video have some way to be able to export a single frame of that video, but that's the key word, is frame. And by making my screen larger, I can really study this image now. And I want people to think, to me, I don't see this as video at this point. This isn't a frame grab. One day we're not going to call them frame grabs. They're photographs. This is a photograph now. So I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard and just very carefully step through it frame by frame. Remember, you're shooting 30 frames a second, so that's a lot of frames that you weren't able to see before. So I'm going to find just that one frame, and once I get there, using whatever procedure, whatever program you use, it's go through those steps. In this case, it's very simple. I just simply export this. And I say export it as a PNG file or a TIFF. I think I have a TIFF here. And there are other ways to do it too. In fact, just now, there are new programs coming on the market even now that are specifically geared for making frame grabs. But let's just do one real fast here. I'm going to go to this program where I'm going to choose how I want to export this. I'm going to choose, I want a still image. You see in this program, it just simply says still image. Click on my options. I can choose different formats of JPEG, TIFF, TGA. There's a lot of options here. I'll just do a TIFF, an uncompressed TIFF. Usually that's going to be better. But let's say OK. And I'm going to say save. Hold on just 1 second. Check my options, make sure I've got everything set there. Good. We're good. Say OK. We're going to say saved. I should name it turkeys. All right. And that's it. So that's it. Pretty much done. Now from there, of course, I'll open up whatever editing program I'm using for stills and do whatever I need to do to crop it, tone it, whatever needs to be done. But I think the important aspect of a frame grab is first to recognize that it's a still photograph. Now, that's the reason why it's best to approach a story in video as you would as a still photographer. And that's one of the great breakthroughs with the 5D Mark II, because when you put it in your hands, you're familiar with it. It feels like a still camera. It is a still camera, but it does something more. And if you'll think that way when you're shooting and quit thinking, this is video, this is video, this is different. It's not different. It's all visual communication. You still have to find the moment. You still got to frame it right. You still got to light it right. Good composition still matters. So pretty simple thing to do.